Good morning, Desiree, and good morning to our viewers. Indeed, service delivery is expected to take the lead as Premier Mathabatha addresses citizens of Limpopo this morning. But other issues, Desiree, that the Premier is expected to touch on include job creation. We saw last year Premier Mathabatha's speech focused mostly on their economic recovery plan, which they were recovering, as you may know, from the COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent lockdowns. But this year we expect Mathabatha to be revealing even further plans to grow the province economy. But Desiree, before I speak more about that speech, I just want to show you around the hall that we are in. We are at the Jake Boras Hall here in Polokwane, where the legislature, the provincial legislature, has set up here today. Behind me, as you can see, there is the speaker's chair where she will be running the program from there, and there will be officials from the legislature who will be sitting with her as well. But down here, you can see the podium where the speech is expected to be delivered, and then around here there are now chairs of members of this provincial legislature where they will be sitting listening into this SOPA address by Premier Mathabatha. But behind us, Desiree, which you cannot see, there's a public gallery that has been put up where invited guests even have started trickling in to sit in. These guests include traditional leaders in the province, people from the business sector, other people from opposition parties who are not members of the provincial legislature. So we expect the program to start at around 10 o'clock this morning, where the Premier will be delivering that SOPA address. But to speak more about that specific address, we are joined by the spokesperson of the Limpopo provincial government, Mr. Ndabe Ramakwela. Well, Ramakwela, thank you so much for speaking to us. What can we expect from the Premier?
Good morning, Pimani, and to all the viewers. It's going to be another exciting opportunity for Premier Mathabatha to outline how far has Limpopo come in the recovery process, as you have outlined in your intro. We are looking at the Premier addressing a number of issues, particularly looking at what his administration has done in the past 4 years. What have they done in terms of firming up administration processes, the audit outcomes that we see in municipalities as well as within the provincial government. There's also an element that will come through of the issues of grade 12, the improvement, where does that come from? So it's something that would outline all these issues that he has to address. But importantly, there are issues of job creation, as you have highlighted. He's going to now talk about what has happened since the investment conference that were held in the past 2 years, how much of that has yielded results coming up to today's address. There's also going to be a lot of talk about infrastructure development, particularly on roads. He is going to spend a lot of time focusing on those, what is the province doing in order to repair roads, as well as building new infrastructure for roads around those areas. Of course, there are major issues that are related to water provision. We are dealing with water sources, and the relationship between the Department of Water and Sanitation as well as municipalities is some of the things that he will talk about. And then the bigger issue around South Africa has been the concern about energy. There are elements that he will highlight on what we're going to do as a province in terms of looking at contributing to issues of making sure that we have sustainable energy throughout the years. So those are some of the major issues that the Premier is expected to talk about, but also a highlight on a number of areas, particularly on building of infrastructure for traditional leadership. The relationship that he has had in the past two weeks, he has been consulting a number of stakeholders, the Council of Churches, military veterans. He has consulted a few other stakeholders just to get an idea of where we are and what he wants to report back on, and that has been quite successful. So that's why today it looks a lot calmer. We are all excited. The choirs are singing. There's whole spirit, and people are looking forward to this particular session that we're going to have today.
The term of office of this administration is expected to come to an end next year as we have an election. Should we also expect the Premier to reflect on the administration, the work of this administration, as we look into the next year, the new administration coming in after the election?
It is indeed almost the final year. The new financial year will be the final year of the 6th administration, and that is one of the things that the Premier will look at. Have we stabilized the provincial government? Have we made better Mathabatha, the promises that were made in the inception of his term, and that's part of the thing that when you listen through from 10 o'clock, you'll be able to get a glimpse of where do we think we are. Do we think that we have done better? And I think there's a more positive outlook to that that will come out of the speech.
Thank you so much, Ramakwela. That's the spokesperson of the Limpopo provincial government, Mr. Ndabe Ramakwela, giving us a glimpse of what we can expect from Premier Stanley Mathabatha as he delivers this year's State of the Province address. As Mr. Ramakwela was explaining, it's quite a hive of activity here at the Jagboras Hall, where outside there are choirs singing, there are traditional groups singing and dancing, just showcasing the diversity and the culture that is found here in Limpopo. But inside the hall, we've seen some of the guests already trickling in. We've seen some prominent chiefs. We've seen some leaders of business sectors. We've seen the Limpopo Chamber of Commerce already here, and we've also seen other stakeholders who are just looking forward to hearing what is Premier Mathabatha's plan going forward as this financial year starts. Desiree?